face o Kochoska. Em да го гледате, em да ве подсетува. Почитувани
my respected friends, hello. To USAID, above all, I want to congratulate them on their anniversary and the fact that they made it for a quarter of a century in Macedonia. And I also want to thank them also for the invitation to this event. And as an activist, but also as a representative of my organization, Polio Plus, a movement against handicap. The topic is quite intriguing, and it is dedicated to diversity and equality. Now, we'll hear, of course, intercultural values, different yet equal, to respect each other. We have also a society for everyone. These are sweet words which every one of us, politicians, international and local experts, institutions, judges, media, and even an ordinary child in all schools does say these words, and in a moderate, quiet way. You think everybody bows down to the beauties that diversity brings, and which in its essence is fighting with equality. Diversity is something more than just having another color of your skin, another gender, age, or handicap. Diversity, in essence, is part of Homo sapiens. It's a part of his thoughts and even his physiognomy. They say the most or prettiest, most beautiful people come from mixed marriages, and then they say, you hear sayings like, hey, this girl is amazing, sometimes for men as well, but what they say is beauty and taste is not to be discussed. These are based on our convictions and our understanding of things. But if we go back to the people that were on crossroads, where there were many interactions and mixing of these different people, they were always more advanced and more educated. For example, let's take the Arabian countries in the middle century, where we had a flourishment of medicine, astronomy, maths. But by discovering the New World, this crossroad went to another part of the world. And then also we have other people, England, Spain, Portugal, which means they all benefited from the interaction, from new knowledge, from new differences. And today, also, in this time and place, every one of us wants to be different and special, just as we would say, right? Special. And today we have great industries, policies, promoting different forms, different products, as well as different interventions for things to be made differently. You have a unique vessel, an expensive one, a unique in the world. Of course, this trend has not overcome the man himself, this Homo sapiens wanting to reach perfection without thinking well, undertakes everything in order to be different from everyone else. Carrying his new lenses, new eyeglasses, buying the most expensive car, the most unique clothes. And sometimes things today went a bit further, and people are having different medical interventions And not all because they have a health problem. No, because they want to be different and unique. And we went a step further. These interventions are undertaken to be said the same with someone else. And so we go back that, in essence, difference needs to fight to be equal. And in the end, it has to take the man to perfection. And on the contrary to this Homo sapiens, we people that have handicaps have this for free. But the problem is that here, this difference or being different, both politically and economically, the societies have transformed in a special need, well known as special needs. So, respected friends, maybe it will seem to you, but as we would say in Polio Plus, handicap in its essence is the human fight, the oldest human fight to overcome its imperfection. Namely, our grandparents didn't have the speed of the antelope or haven't been strong as the predators and the other wild animals, but somehow it managed to develop speech, creativity, weaponry, means which helped him in a way counter nature. And if this ability is put into life itself and we accept it, it might bring us to a new line of development of humanity. But this has to be done in a syncretistic way. Syncretism, not how we find it in the dictionaries, making a combination of different forms of beliefs and practices, but such a combination that has to have in itself and accept the differences and to respect them within ourselves. On the other side, we have to accept that also in the very nature of man is to fear from things that are different. And this fear most often ends with rejection and creating groups and subgroups, which then by their culture, language, handicap, are different from the already imposed and imagined perfect code with the purpose that these different people would be submissive and not be able to become equal. Of course, in this process of rejection, the main actor has the force of ruling, and naturally a human being through the instruments of power aims to create interesting societies, and with them and in them there are the perfect people leading them. You have a Macedonian, an Albanian, a woman, and there might be an LGBT, but persons with handicap. This rejection basically is not the fear to accept such a community, but that would not be a creator or leader of instruments of power. And whether we like it or not, they are leading to the creation of inequality, unequal participation in all the social movements. I think that's why we have ableism, racism, xenophobia. So, my dear respected friends, today the euphoria of the world that fights for equality has not surpassed our country. As if we didn't have enough of history lessons that imperfection is in fact the human advancement compared to everything else that exists in this planet. And in order for the human being to get away from this matrix, which is already constructed, he needs to recognize difference and diversity within himself and to begin a serious process of learning, but not learning one next to the other, but learning one from another. This challenge can represent also a threat for being implemented, but however, it has to remind us constantly of our independence. And in order to build a national awareness, individual, collective, the governments, institutions have to touch the different people in order to secure participativeness, coherence, to learn to work with them, but also to take orders from them as well. Parallelly, we have to have in mind that we have to bear our responsibility as well, because inclusiveness is not only a matter of ethics and equality. Our dedication not to leave anyone behind requires a dedication to make sure that the entire spectrum of knowledge, creativity, and solutions is involved, and which only diversity can offer and bears with her. And in this process, just as the previous colleagues mentioned and said, the key is education. But before that, we have to go back a step back, and that is to understand, as Hesse would say in Damian, that the perfect you, us, in general, are consisted of a numberless me's, and this is where we have to put the action to. Thank you.